Beautiful, man. Beautiful. Those two verses, you would never hear that in the Christian church. Never. Never. I remember when I first came to church, I was shocked to hear those verses. Like, whoa.
Yeah, I agree. I was raised in church, never heard it.
Never heard it.
Never heard
it. Never.
They say the Lord of hosts, but they don't tell you what host means. That's armies.
Army, right. Lord army, many armies, right. Good point. Go ahead. Isaiah 13:4.
We're back in Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 4. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle.
That's right. The Most High, he wants this World War III to happen, okay? He put a spirit in these nations for World War III. Go ahead.
They come from a far country.
Hey, talking about the Russians right here. Go ahead.
From the end of heaven. Even the Lord and the weapons of his indignation.
The weapon of the indignation is nuclear bombs. Go ahead.
And the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land.
Ooh, the whole land is America. This whole land, America, is going to be wiped off the face of the earth. Destroyed.
Just like Gaza.
Right, yeah, just like Gaza. Right. Yeah, but worse.
But worse, gone.
But worse. Man, guys going like a damn vacation retreat compared to America. Let's read this article, man, because World War III is going to be the black man revenge, man. Okay? Like I said, man, I'm talking about all the tribes, but this article is going to focus more on the black man, okay? When I say black man, I'm talking about the people that came on the transatlantic slave trade, on cargo slave ships, Judah Benjamin Levi. Okay, let's read the article out.
All right, article titled, U.S. Israel vote against UN resolution condemning transatlantic slave trade.
So how in the hell the United States government and the so-called Jew Israel is going to vote against the slave trade? Everybody knows that's a wicked act, but they don't vote against it. This white man, he's a damn devil. And those two guys were the most guilty of it, the United States and the so-called Jew, because the so-called Jews financed the slave trade.
This is by
they some devils, boy. Go ahead.
This is by Sharon Zane from Truth Out, and it's published March 26, 2026.
It's happened a couple weeks ago. Go ahead.
Says the U.S. and Israel were two of only 3 countries to vote against a resolution in the UN to condemn the transatlantic slave trade.
So when they had that United Nations meeting to condemn the slave trade, only 3 nations. Out of all the nations on the planet Earth, only 3 nations voted against it. That was America, Israel, and Argentina, which is run by a bunch of damn Spaniards.
Right.
Go ahead.
To condemn the transatlantic slave trade as the gravest crime against humanity.
That's right. It is the greatest crime against humanity. Nothing was more brutal than the transatlantic slave trade. But it's so what you talking about the damn Holocaust, which that was all bullshit.
Right.
Okay. That was exaggerated.
Yeah.
Because 6 million Jews didn't even exist during that time, so-called Jews. So how the hell 6 million Jews died? So that's all BS, man. But that's another story. Go ahead.
Yep. To condemn the transatlantic slave trade as the gravest crime against humanity and calling for reparations.
That's right. And the person that called for this reparation was an African leader. I forgot his name, from Guyana. And these Africans don't give a damn about us. Because whatever reparation you get, you pay to us.
Right.
Because you help sell us to the white man. Okay? So, these so-called Africans and Hamites, they tricky, man. They just want money, man.
Right.
They scammers, But they ever give a damn about the so-called black man on this side of the earth. So give me Zechariah 11:5, man, because here the white man, Esau, Edom of America, Israel, had a hand in the slave trade, but they don't want to condemn it, though. You know what I'm saying? That's what white men do. They don't hold themselves guilty. They don't take accountability for their sins. That's why the Most High is going to destroy their ass.
Hey, before you go there, to talk about what you're saying, I got a list right here of the actual slave ships and the ownership of the people who own them.
Oh man, beautiful.
So before you go to Zechariah 11:5, I'm gonna mention the slave trade, the ship name, and the people who own them. All right, the Abigail, was owned by Aaron Lopez, Moses Levy, Jacob Franks, Jewish. The Crown, owned by Isaac Levy, Nathan Simpson, Jewish. Nassau, Moses Levy, Jewish. Four Sisters, Moses Levy, Jewish. Anna and Eliza. Justice Bosch, John Abrams, Jewish. Prudent Betty, Henry Kruger, Jacob Phoenix, Jewish. Hester, Mordecai Gomez, David Gomez, Jewish. Elizabeth, Mordecai Gomez, David Gomez. Antigua, Nathan Marston, Abram Lyell, Jewish. Betsy, William DeWolf. Polly, James DeWolf. White Horse, Jan D. Solitz, Jewish. Expedition, John Roosevelt, Jacob Roosevelt, Jewish. Charlotte, Moses Levy, Sam Levy, Jacob Franks, Jewish. And last but not least, Caracoa, Moses Levy, Sam Levy, all owned by Jewish families.
Look at that, man. They ran the slave trade.
They ran it.
Yep, they ran it.
All Jewish.
All Jewish. Matter of fact, before, give me Revelation 2 and 9.
Revelation chapter 2.
So the so-called Jew, but you got a lot to pay for it. You stole our identity, ran our identity into the mud, and had a nerve to have us in slavery, in financial slave trade. So you got a lot to pay for a so-called Jew. That's why the Iranian is supersonic you to damn death.
Right.
And every time I hear about it, I take a good drink. You gonna leave me to be a drunkard. I gotta slow down. Go ahead.
Revelation chapter 2 and verse 9. I know thy works and tribulation and poverty.
That's what he said. Most high, he see our pain and our tribulation and our slavery. He sees it. Go ahead.
But thou art rich.
We're rich, man, because we're the Israelites, man. We're gonna get the kingdom of heaven. Go ahead.
And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews.
That's right, blasphemy, a dirty, stinking lie. Go ahead.
Which say they are Jews and are not.
But they are not. They are not the real Jews. Go ahead.
But are the synagogue of Satan.
That's the chief house of Satan. Who are the most evil persons on earth? The so-called Jew. Who are the most nasty people on earth? The so-called Jew. Who are the most cunning people on earth? The so-called Jew. And now, you know what's so funny about? Everybody's waking up for the so-called Jew.
Right.
Everybody, even they brother, the so-called white man is waking up for the so-called Jew. Even white Christians, black Christians, everybody's waking up for the so-called Jew, man.
Right.
Because that Gaza, that genocide in Gaza, that did it too. You couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Cause you couldn't get around that, man. You couldn't get around that.
That's right.
And they see, and now here the Americans are suffering. You know, our economy's bad, and now everybody knows that the so-called Jew is running down Trump punk ass right now.
Pulling his puppet strings.
He's pulling his puppet strings, and everybody knows it. So everybody hates the so-called Jew right now, man. Here we suffer in America, so-called Americans, whatever, American people, but we spending billions of dollars over an unjust war against the Iranians.
Beautiful.
And we losing, and as Americans, we losing the war, which is beautiful. So they pissed off at these so-called Jews, man. They pissed off, man. So you think hate crime is bad now, the so-called Jew? You ain't seen nothing yet, man. You ain't seen nothing yet. They nasty, they evil, nasty people, arrogant, man. Yeah. So they get everything what they deserve. So give me Zechariah 11:4. How these so-called white man, he never take accountability. He think he never do anything wrong. Go ahead, Al.
All right, this is Zechariah chapter 11 and verse 5.
Come.
Whose possessors slay them.
That's right. So who own us? The so-called white man. Right. They slay us every day. Go ahead.
And hold themselves not guilty.
And hold themselves not guilty. So here they did the slave trade, but they said, oh, we didn't do nothing wrong.
Right.
We read an article, they said, hey, it wasn't against international law at the time. So these people are wicked as hell. They can't say, I'm sorry, and let's work out a deal.
Because who made the international law?
Right, the damn devil.
Yeah.
Right. Which they break, Donald Trump is breaking right now. By bombing Iran. Go ahead, Bob.
Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty.
And hold themselves not guilty, leaving nothing wrong. Go ahead.